High-speed trains can be found all over the world, even in the most unlikely of places, from the plane and car-centric USA to as far north as Swedish Lapland just outside of the Arctic Circle, which is where I'm taking you today to ride Sweden's fastest train as we head from Luleå to Haparanda at the Finnish border, riding a high-speed railway designed for the harshest Arctic conditions and discussing the future of this vital railway connection. Now join me as the journey continues. Welcome to Luleå Centralstation, only a mere few-minute walk away from the city centre and the city's main station for long-distance services across Sweden, though these are few in number as evidenced by how empty it is inside and the lack of ticket offices. But still, the station does the job and is a nice enough place to wait and view photos from times long since gone. The train we'll be taking today is train number 7190, operated by Norrtåg, the 13:15 departure to Haparanda. The station also has a few places to eat, such as this burger restaurant, which isn't too bad given its low passenger traffic. One such operator being national operator SJ on both daytime iron ore line services to Narvik in Norway and overnight sleeper trains to Stockholm, a video of which will be coming soon given it's how I arrived here early this morning. Luleå Central also sees a sizable amount of freight traffic travelling to and from the nearby freight terminal. Luleå is seen as Sweden's steel city, having been a key settlement for the transport of iron ore and production of steel since the late 19th century, a role it proudly continues to play as noted by the stationary iron ore wagon by the station entrance, which, having grown up in the UK's equivalent Sheffield, does interest me quite a bit. But anyway, let's move on to what we're here for. Norrtåg is the main operator here at Luleå, and at the time of filming were run as a concession by the Norwegian state operator V. Finnish state operator VR has been operating the concession from December 2025 onwards, though based on a friend's recent visit to Sweden's far north, not much has changed since the handover. Norrtåg operates both local and long-distance routes, including 3 return services a day to Haparanda using 6 X52 trains, built by Bombardier Transportation in 2001 and form part of their extensive Regina family used in Sweden and Norway. Don't let appearances fool you though. These little 2-car electric multiple units have a top design speed of 250 km per hour, but are currently limited to 200 km per hour in passenger service. One of Norrtåg's X52 units, number 9062, holds the Swedish speed record of 303 km per hour, achieved as part of the Green Train project trials in September 2008. That unit is still in passenger service, but I was told it wasn't in operation when I made this journey. Instead, our unit will be a spot hire set from Transitio, the leasing company that owns Norrtåg's X52 fleet. Around 20 minutes before departure, our train leaves the sidings and arrives into the platform to take us on to Haparanda. It's also worth mentioning our unit is named Bo Fredriksson, the former CEO of AB Transitio. As we board, we can see that at the rear of the train is a door offering level boarding, though this was out of order on this occasion, but we'll check it out later as it otherwise has a pretty cool feature. The majority of the X52 is second class, laid out in a 2x3 configuration due to its wide body profile. However, there is a small first class cabin at the front of the train with 2x2 seating, which is declassified, so this seems like a good place to sit. The driver also saw me filming whilst he was changing ends and invited me to look at the front cab. Stay tuned until later in the video for some pretty cool shots on the high speed line. Luggage storage is available through the overhead racks for smaller items, with larger racks available throughout the train for heavier items. For our route out of Luleå, we head northwest to eventually arrive into Boden, before we travel east towards the Finnish border with a further stop at Kalix, picking up the high-speed line from there to reach Haparanda, with an arrival of around 3 PM, our X52 taking 1 hour and 54 minutes to cover a distance of 193 kilometers or 120 miles. We leave Luleå right on time at 1:15. As we depart, we can see the sidings to the left where a number of SJ, Intercity and sleeper coaches are stabled for use on both Stockholm and Iron Ore line services. These were until recently operated by V as well, but that's a subject for another video. For now, we arrive into Norrtåg, Luleå's second station, located around 5 kilometers from Central Station and provides a rail link to the nearby Luleå University of Technology. Anyway, let's move on to the interior. Starting with the seat, this is incredibly comfortable and one of the best I've tried in a while, despite how tired they look. The padding is brilliant and the ergonomic design is great. The seats also have foldable armrests on both sides, and just in front is a large tray table, though it could use a bit of a clean. A storage net is also found just below this. A lever to adjust the recline is on the left side of the seat, which is fairly decent, and on that note, the legroom in this cabin is brilliant, a lot better than most long distance intercity trains nowadays. You may have also noticed the litter bags just to the right. Is any Swedish train complete without one? There are power sockets available, but as with some older Dutch trains, these are located just below the overhead luggage racks. Also below them are coat hooks, which are also just next to the window, with reading lights also located below the luggage racks. And last but certainly not least, there's a draw-down window blind, but this is not fully blocked, so the view can still be seen. Overall, this is a great interior for a regional train, but it's definitely in need of a refurb. Nothing too drastic though, it's just looking a bit tired, even if it's just the higher end. 20 minutes after leaving Luleå, we're now arriving into Boden's Central Station, which initially originated as a railway junction in the late 19th century, but later became of increasing importance following the construction of the Boden Fortress in the 20th century, constructed to defend Sweden from potential threats from the east. The city's role as a railway junction is still prominent today. We came from Luleå in the southeast, the line to Stockholm is southwest, the Iron Ore line continuing to Narvik is in the northwest, and the northeast, the line we'll be taking, leads to Haparanda and the Finnish border. We're now on the single-tracked Haparandabanan or Haparanda line, which was fully completed in 1915 and was the only open railway connection between Germany and Russia during World War I. The line closed to passenger traffic in 1992, and until April 2021 when Norrtåg began its passenger services, including on the upgraded high-speed section which we travel on after Kalix. For now, we're currently doing around 110 km per hour or 65 miles per hour, though the highest speed on this section is 160 km per hour on some segments. I travelled on this line in mid-April, so some remnants of snow can be seen, and even the lakes are still frozen over, which makes for a really nice backdrop as we continue to travel through Swedish Lapland. Whilst we continued along the line, the attendant handed out some chocolate eggs given it was Easter when I travelled. I chatted to him a fair bit as well about life on the rails amongst other things. Great staff really make the journey. On that note, let's have a further look around the X52. As mentioned earlier, the main second class section generally uses the same seating, albeit slightly narrower and laid out in a 2x3 configuration, though there is some 2x2 seating by the cafe bar, which we'll come back to later. In the leading driving vehicle is the wheelchair space with an ample amount of bike storage, though some passengers thought it was better to store luggage there. Just next to this is a wheelchair lift, which allows wheelchair users to access the train's main seating area, though one of the doors was out of order, as you would have seen when we boarded the train at Luleå. Accompanying this is the wheelchair accessible toilet, though this one was out of order on this particular train. The standard toilet, however, wasn't, which was very clean and made good use of the generous interior space offered by the Reginas. Unusually for a regional operator, Norrtåg offers an onboard bistro where you can buy drinks and snacks, which was reasonably priced by Swedish standards. I ended up buying a bottle of water as I already had lunch in Luleå, and if you want to view the full menu for yourself, I've linked it in the description below. The train also has free onboard Wi-Fi, which is provided using the leasing company's network on this particular set. This worked pretty well and was useful in checking updates on social media. You may want to give me a follow over there too. Some areas on the Haparanda line were snowier than others when I travelled, however the further east we headed, the more prominent it became despite the sun being out for the entirety of the time I was on the line. Before long we arrived into our last stop, Kalix, and it's from here where we pick up the high-speed line. Kalix is primarily known for its archipelago of the same name just off the coast, consisting of 792 Swedish islands. After leaving Kalix, we enter the new Haparanda line, which is where our train really starts to pick up speed. As shown by the map, this is one of the small handful of railway lines in Sweden built for high-speed operation of up to 250 km per hour. However, given how small the section is, trains like our X52 are limited to 200 km per hour for the moment. It was at this point of the trip where the driver invited me into the cab to enjoy the views along this Arctic high-speed railway, which was by far the highlight of this trip. As with the conventional section of the Haparanda line, this section is single-tracked for the majority of the line length, with a few sidings being present given that this line initially opened for freight traffic. It was opened in 2012 and passenger services along it wouldn't have commenced until 9 years later. I've had this phone for I don't know how many years and I never knew you could do that at the same time.
I'm glad I could teach you something new there.
Thank you.
Where you're from UK, right?
Yeah, so I live in London.
You live in London?
Yeah, I'm just here for the weekend.
Yeah.
So in my free time I come out to Europe and other parts of the world and do this basically.
Yeah.
So I feel my train journeys, they're all privatised at the moment, so sometimes you get hired into like different leasing companies and different other operators.
Oh, okay, yeah.
We're now coming to the end of the high-speed line and with that the end of our journey today. Overall, this was a brilliant trip with Norrtåg. These X52 trains are very comfortable and the staff on board really made it a fantastic journey, though I would say Norrtåg need to really look at the condition of their trains before sending them out for service, given a number of onboard facilities were not working, and also increase the frequency on this route where possible. 3 round trips a day is nowhere near enough, though I'm aware lack of stock is a huge blocking point here. I travelled using my Interrail pass for this trip, and because it's classed as a regional train in Sweden, I didn't have to pay any reservation costs as I otherwise would have under state-owned SJ's intercity and high-speed trains. A single ticket on this route costs 195 Swedish krona or around £15.69 on the day, which you can either purchase online or via the onboard staff. This isn't too bad for a 2-hour train ride, and bear in mind Sweden isn't a particularly cheap country anyway. On that note, we arrived into Haparanda station on time at 3:09.
Thanks so much. Take care, yeah?
Now you've heard from me, I want to hear from you. Have you travelled with Norrtåg before, or on the X52 with another operator? What did you think of this journey, and are you inspired to take it after watching this video? Let me know in the comments. I hope you've enjoyed this video. Please like, hype and share it if you did to aid the channel's growth, and don't forget to subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications for more content such as this weekly. As mentioned previously, Haparanda is right next to the border with Finland, and the line here was previously the only link between Sweden and Finland by rail, which was abolished in 1988. However, works have been ongoing to reinstate the link, with passenger service expected to recommence on the 10th of August from Haparanda to Tornio, Kemi and Oulu, following electrification being completed at the beginning of 2025. I'll definitely be giving this a go sometime soon. As for my plans now, I'm off to complete the crossing towards Finland by foot onto a sleeper train that you probably haven't heard of, which you'll learn about in a future video. For now though, thanks so much for coming with me on this trip, and I look forward to bringing you with me on my next one.